Why do they continue to make these products with these dangerous chemicals, knowing that they are bad for us? Because they don't care. They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of making you healthy.
Let's have a serious discussion about synthetic braiding hair, a product that many Black women wear on a regular basis. We're going to talk about the dangers, the research, who should be held accountable, and other options for braiding your hair. If you're new here, my name is Habiba Tunau, and I happen to be a physician as well as a content creator who happens to wear braids on a regular basis. So this subject is quite important to me.
I know I can't be the only person here that didn't realize how toxic braiding hair is. We are continuously exposing our bodies to harmful chemicals, harmful to our health, without realizing it. Braiding hair is like that friend or that person that pretends to be your friend sitting in plain sight on a daily basis, pretending to be your friend, meanwhile is plotting your demise. That's what braiding hair is to me right now. Okay, I cannot believe the amount of information that I have read and researched highlighting how dangerous some of those chemicals are used to make braiding hair, and yet we continue to use it. How is it this information, this research is out there, has been there for years, and yet somehow it just didn't get any traction? Well, today I am here to discuss some of the findings and to share it with you because I think it's very important. No different than I shared with you in a previous video how dangerous and how toxic chemical relaxers are to us, but yet we use it so freely without even thinking about it. And I know braiding is something that is part of the culture. It is part of our makeup, even almost our DNA, if you will. If you go back hundreds of years, Black people have been braiding hair, whether it's here in America or in Africa. Braiding hair is a beautiful way to change your look. It is also a great way to show some versatility. It's a great way to put your hair away when you don't want to, deal with it on a daily basis. When you're going on vacation, you braid your hair. I mean, there's so many different ways, different styles. And to learn that braiding hair, specifically synthetic braiding hair, is toxic, is absolutely devastating to me. To me personally, and should be to you if you like to change your hairstyles. I'm not here to judge you. There are different reasons women choose synthetic hair, mostly because of the accessibility and also because of the cost. So the good news is we don't have to stop braiding our hair. I mean, we have options, but for now, let's focus on the common synthetic hair that we all use. And when I say that we all use, I mean myself included. I have bags and bags of synthetic hair, some of which that I've used in the past and some that are left over. Okay, we all know these popular brands. They're all suspect, let me tell you. They're all suspect. How about this one? Pre-stretch, non-flammable. Yep. Problematic. And when I say braiding hair, I don't just mean literally just hair that you use to braid. I mean all synthetic hair that is used to either braid or for crochet styles or for twists. I'm really sad that even this expression hair, when it says flame retardant, that flame retardant that you're seeing on the hair or built in to the hair is also pretty toxic. Yeah, this one is one of the bad ones too. I hate to say it because I love the texture. In fact, that's what I have in my hair right now. It looks super natural, but look here. It says made with 100% kanekalon. Okay, 100% kanekalon. Problem. We take it as a positive or as a good thing, but it isn't. So I have my notes here because obviously there's a lot of information out here and I want to make sure I give you accurate information. Let's start off with some of these harmful chemicals. So some of the harmful chemicals such as polyethylene terephthalate or PET, that's one, polypropylene, in short PP, and polyvinyl chloride, PVC, are commonly found in synthetic hair fibers. These chemicals are linked to a range of health issues, including skin irritation, respiratory problems, and even cancer. When I say skin irritation, I'm sure many of you know people who have said multiple times that they can't use braiding hair because they break out, or it gives them bumps, or they start to itch. And that is not an uncommon thing, and clearly it's not in their head, because guess what? Their body was trying to tell them that what they were exposing themselves to was toxic. Okay? Respiratory problems, when they mention that, they're talking specifically about asthma, because it is found that in many communities, especially, as you know, in the African American community, asthma is very prevalent. Gases that are produced from, say, hairsprays, from beauty products, even certain inexpensive goods that are actually used on kids themselves, including toxic fumes that are coming off from braiding hair. So a lot of these chemicals that come from braiding hair are released over time when you wear them, but also accelerated when heat is applied to the braiding hair. So for example, when we braid hair, a lot of times we burn the ends or we cinch the ends. That accelerates some of the toxins or the chemicals that are released out into the environment and around us. So for those who think that the toxins or the bad chemicals are released only when heat is applied to the hair, to braiding hair, that's not true. These toxins, these chemicals are continuously released, whether or not you use heat on the hair. The issue is that the heat accelerates the release of those chemicals, right? So that heat can be in the form of using a lighter to burn the ends, but it can also be when we dip the ends in hot water. That is heat, right? So that is also causing release of these toxic chemicals. And I'm sure many of you know that smell that we smell when you burn hair or when you apply heat to synthetic hair. I showed you my stash of braiding hair, including kanekalon hair, which is a very popular braiding hair, right? Kanekalon hair is very popular because it resembles Afro kinky hair. However, let me read some of the ingredients that are used to make kanekalon hair. Well, modacrylic fiber, or kanekalon, is composed of acrylonitrile and vinyl chloride, both of which are toxic to humans. According to the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, classifies acrylonitrile as a probable human carcinogen. In other words, that ingredient potentially causes cancer. Now, the National Cancer Institute directly links, see, the EPA says probable, but the National Cancer Institute directly links vinyl chloride with leukemia, lymphoma, and rare forms of liver, brain, and lung cancers. The Occupational Safety and Health Administrations have set a maximal exposure limit of acrylonitrile and vinyl chloride. So they have a safety limit. Now keep in mind, when you braid a full head of hair, stylists typically use several packs. Most of us use several packs of hair. And so this equates to what they say is a continuous exposure to modacrylic fiber for several weeks. Synthetic extensions emit concerning substances, including volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, upon heat exposure. All right, I did not say what are VOCs. Okay, what are VOCs? I will put it on the screen right now for you. Okay, basically VOCs are volatile organic compound emissions, and those can be found when you heat synthetic hair. So I found a pilot study, which I thought was very interesting. Place it right here for you. This is from the National Library of Medicine journal. It's a journal article, Environ Health Insights. So this is something you can find online yourself, okay? And I definitely encourage you to look it up. Many VOCs are known to be potentially toxic or carcinogenic. So in this pilot study, they set out to find out whether VOCs were emitted from braiding hair. Specifically, are VOCs emitted from heated or singed synthetic hair? And then what are the VOC species identified? So if you read the study fully, which I did not put up here, you will see that there were a long list of toxic chemicals that they identified that were, present in these braiding hair samples. They tested the samples that were flame retardant synthetic hair, and they also tested non-flame retardant synthetic hair. And you'll see it says, our findings confirmed that VOCs, which again are volatile organic compound emissions, are emitted from singed or heated synthetic hair for both types of sources. So it didn't matter whether the hair was flame retardant or non-flame retardant synthetic hair. Both of them basically emitted VOCs. And it says it's important because the health risks of VOC exposure may be significant, especially in communities with a high prevalence of asthma, such as the African American communities. It was written in The Lancet, and it was published online May 2023. And I got to read this to you. I'll try to put it on the screen as well. Black women across the United States are commonly exposed to carcinogens due to inadequate regulation of substances involving hair braiding, an important cultural beauty practice. While public awareness of harmful ingredients in Black hair products has slowly been increasing, synthetic extensions as a source of toxins has not been an area of focus. True. Extensions are typically worn for 4 to 6 weeks, right? Most of us will keep our braids in for about a month, maybe a little over a month, right? So with continuous exposure to carcinogenic ingredients for those who subsequently reinstall their braids throughout the year. This exposure is taking place in a population already plagued with high rates of endocrine disorders, breast cancer mortality, and uterine disease. So like I said before, if you didn't watch my previous video on relaxers, you really should. Because if you watch that video, you'll see I highlight the studies that talk about endocrine disruptors, which are chemicals that mimic our body's hormones, and excessive exposure to those endocrine disruptors have resulted in really dangerous health problems. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, we've been braiding hair for years. It has not been a problem. Why this now? Well, that would be false, because just like relaxers, we've been relaxing our hair for years, but yet on the other side, women have been developing ovarian cancer, breast cancer, fibroids in excess, endometriosis in excess, and we didn't realize that there was a connection. So just because on the surface it looks like, oh, we don't have a problem, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a full picture we are getting, right? A lot of times when you hear someone developed cancer or some major health problem, a lot of us assume that, oh, well, maybe it was genetic, or maybe it ran in their family, not recognizing that it is quite possible it had a lot to do with the chemicals that they were being exposed to. This exposure is taking place in a population already plagued with high rates of endocrine disorders, breast cancer, mortality, and uterine disease. Therefore, further research is required to investigate a causal relationship, especially since other Black hair care products have already been associated with negative health outcomes. Public health practitioners, braiding professionals, healthcare providers should educate individuals seeking synthetic braids about the potential exposure to carcinogen compounds or carcinogenic compounds, and basically advocate for regulation of synthetic extension ingredients. Just think about it. Wigs and extensions are a billion-dollar industry. And a lot of these companies have been profiting off of Black women in exchange for cheap and dangerous chemicals in these hair products. Of course, when you think of synthetic hair or braiding hair in general, Black women in the United States and also Black women in Africa, in the continent of Africa, are some of the highest consumers of some of these products. And we are the ones who are directly impacted when you think about all of the health problems that happen later. Obviously, one of the biggest issues is that there's a lack of government regulation, especially on the federal level. Why do they continue to make these products with these dangerous chemicals, knowing that they are bad for us? Because they don't care. They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of making you healthy. And again, when there isn't any government regulation on the federal level, they can continue to do that. So you as a consumer have to be smart enough to learn the information that's out there and to protect yourself by avoiding these products. But of course, hopefully in the near future, we will have enough lawmakers, ethical lawmakers that stand up for the people to ensure that these companies can no longer do this, can no longer poison us just in the name of making money. Earlier, I mentioned flame retardant, right? Flame retardant, a lot of these brands will mention on their packaging that the hair is flame retardant as a way of getting us to buy it, meaning that it is a positive thing if you buy this hair that has a flame retardant and will not burn or catch fire, right? Well, I saw this where it says another concern is the flame retardant fibers, cheap chemicals. In January 2022, New York State joined 4 other states in banning flame retardants due to their adverse health effects, including cancer and reproductive organ toxicity. Now, I did hear about the flame retardant being a cancer-causing agent, but it was in reference to flame retardants that were being used on furniture and used on other products. So it is that same flame retardant chemical that is being used in these hair products or in these synthetic hair, right? Currently, it says there is currently no ban on flame retardants at the federal level, leaving synthetic hair users at risk. So you see what I'm saying? They banned the product and it isn't being used on many other products, but it's currently still being used in these hair products. So the issue raised was standardizing cosmetology educational requirements. So currently, professional braiders face differing cosmetology curriculum depending on the state. And many states do not require braiding be covered in the cosmetology curriculum, right? And the curriculum that do include braiding often focus on styling methods over chemical components of the extensions. So if you are a braider or if you are a stylist, I would love to hear your thoughts on that issue. It is true, many of us know that you can go get your hair braided by the Africans in town, and of course, many of them are not licensed cosmetologists, or they're not licensed beauticians. They know how to braid, but they don't have necessarily the formal education or understanding about the products that they are using. However, I don't want to put the blame on the braiders or the blame on the stylists, because again, it goes back to regulation. These companies should not be allowed to make these dangerous products and sell these products to consumers, whether it be the private, mother in her house, or whether it is the stylist or braider that purchases the hair to braid in her shop, right? So we should not put all of the weight or blame on the braiders because they're not the ones making the product. However, yes, I do agree it is important for them to understand the chemical makeup and also to understand some of the risk of these products they're using, because it's not just dangerous to the customer that they're braiding, it's also dangerous to them. They're using the braiding hair day in and day out, oftentimes several bundles of hair that are being used to braid their customers. So they are also technically exposed to some of the health risks. So the article goes on to say, some argue for nationwide cosmetology licensing requirements to braid. However, this policy would adversely affect professional braiders with lower income. I'm sure I don't need to elaborate. Many of you understand that, yeah, a lot of these braiders are in low income communities. Not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them are. And requiring them to have a license would be, a significant financial burden. Especially when the curriculum that they're going to be taught, especially here in America, may have nothing to do with actual braiding, right? So anyway, I'd love to know what you think. In my opinion, the burden lies not just on the braiders or the stylists that are using these products, but also specifically on the companies that are making these dangerous products. But again, until you have government regulation, who is going to hold them accountable? They're going to continue to introduce these products into the stores, into your hands, because there's no government regulation telling them that they can't or forcing them to stop, right? So in the meantime, what are you and I supposed to do? Well, I think in the meantime, it's important as consumers to read and keep up with the news that's out there, to read some of these journal articles if possible, and to educate ourselves and to stay away from these dangerous products. And I know it's very difficult. Trust me, it is difficult as someone who, again, loves to change her hairstyle. Synthetic hair is readily accessible, very cheap, and that's why we turn to it so easily. Yeah, it makes it very difficult to give up a product that most of us have used most of our lives. So let's say you love braids, like myself, or you love a good protective style, or you love, long braids with extensions or twists. What are you going to do? What are your options? Well, option one would be to just braid your own natural hair and not add any extensions. That's an option if you have the hair. Option two would be to use human hair, okay? But of course, we know that human hair is a lot more expensive than synthetic hair, but it doesn't have these toxic ingredients found in synthetic hair. So that's the second option. Option three would be to find some natural hair extensions other than human hair, such as wool. I know that some African women use wool. There is also a product that is being developed made from banana stalk. So they're basically taking the fibers from a banana tree and using it to develop hair fibers that actually look like synthetic braiding hair. And I will list in the description box a company also here in the United States. I believe, yeah, it's called Rebundle, and they make plant-based extensions that are natural. And also part of their company's goal is to raise awareness of the dangers of synthetic hair, and also to create a wasteless recycle program. Because the whole point is, think about the bundles and bundles of hair that are wasted when you use synthetic hair. Think about the piles of hair, when you take out your braids that end up in dumpsters somewhere when we're done with it. So we are also creating a lot of waste when we use synthetic hair, and this company is trying to, change that. So hopefully this video inspired you to do your own research about synthetic braiding hair. I am done with it. I can't believe I'm saying this. You should see the big pile of synthetic hair on the floor right now. You see it, right? I'm done with it. Done with it. I'm very, very serious. We all desire to be cute or attractive and well put together, but not at the expense of our health. No, 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 no. If you see me with braids, just know it's my own hair, all of my hair, or human hair or something else, but it's not gonna be synthetic braiding hair. So I think it's time we stop pretending we don't know. If you've watched this video, now you know, okay? If you've watched this video, now you know. You can't say you don't know. Protect your daughters, protect your family, and, you know, start thinking critically about these products and what they're doing to your body. You know, the asthma, the skin conditions, the alopecia, you know, the hair loss unnecessarily, the cancer, the GYN problems, you know, endometriosis, heavy periods, ovarian cancer, breast cancer. These are all, in some cases, preventable if we weren't exposing our bodies to all of these man-made artificial chemicals that are poisoning us. It's really sad, it's really disturbing how these companies put profit over the health of our bodies. All right, I'm done talking. It's up to you what you do with your hair. I'm just here to provide you with the information I have learned. I know what I'm going to do with the information. What you do, again, is up to you. Please leave me a comment below. If you're a stylist, if you're a braider, or if you're someone that wears braids, let me know what you think. If you're a mother, are you going to change anything when it comes to your young daughters? What do you think? Or do you think that this is all fake news, if you will, and not true, and that the natural hair movement is just here to take away your synthetic braiding hair? I don't know. You know, people come up with some crazy ideas or conspiracy theories as to why, you know, information like this is shared. But anyway, I base my opinions on science, okay? I am a doctor first, and things have to make sense to me, okay? I hope you enjoyed listening to this. I hope you learned something new. Again, leave me a comment below with your thoughts. Bye! And good luck getting over the crack of braiding hair. Hey, it's not gonna be that bad. I've managed to give up the creamy crack. I'm sure I can give up the braiding hair crack.